Stanley for the Chair and Vice Chair, Harlow Council.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Please be seated. Thank you, and welcome to this special full council on the 2nd of November. Can I take item 1, please? Apologies for absence. Councillor Dark.
Apologies for Stephen May. Councillor Charles is on his way from Salford.
Yes. Thank you. Councillor Charles had messaged me as well to apologise for the fact that he's going to be late. And on the other side, do we have any apologies? No. Okay. Item 2, declarations of interest, if any, in relation to items on the agenda. Does any councillor have any items of interest that they need to declare? I'll take that as none then. Item 3, Harlow Council electoral cycles. I think this is to be moved by Councillor Swords and seconded by Councillor Leppard. Can I see that formally?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'll hand over to Councillor Swords.
Thank you, Chair. And this item is not about politics. It is not about a political party. The question this evening is about doing what is right by the taxpayers of Harlow and for Harlow Council as an organisation serving those taxpayers. That is the question upon which members are voting this evening. And I do personalise this, Chair, because, as I said, it is not about a political party. It is about individual representatives of local neighbourhoods deciding what is best for their residents. So I will take members through the scenarios and the matters upon which they are deciding. First, there will be an all-up election in May next year, electing all 33 councillors in Harlow, with whichever way members vote this evening. Second, there will be no district council election the following year as the county council election will take place. And even if members vote to keep the current system, that will be the case. So the first part of the decision that members must take this evening as to whether all councillors elected in May should be elected for a 4-year term, as would happen under the proposed system, or whether they should be voted in on varying terms, some for 2 years, some for 3, and some for 4. That could mean 3 councillors from the same party, each elected on the same day, all 3 then having to fight different elections in different years. But it goes further than that. There is an enormous financial cost to taxpayers of keeping the current system. And I will clarify what that means. If members vote to keep the current system in thirds, they're voting to do one of 2 things. Either increase council tax to pay for those elections, or cut services to pay for those elections. And if members don't believe that to be the case, I draw their attention to other neighbouring authorities where they are doing exactly this on financial grounds, cross-party. Now, members may believe it's important to retain voting every year, so let's explore what that means. It means losing 3 months per year of the council functioning for elections. It means a distinct lack of clarity for the organisation and what it is being asked to deliver for residents. It means a different voting system in Harlow to 69% of other people in this country. It means that every decision that is taken during the administration is politically driven on the basis of the next election, and it means an extremely low and falling turnout. Is that a truly good means for which to cut other vital council services or increase council tax? Or do members propose perhaps a special levy on council tax, specifically to fund elections each year? It is also the case that by the arithmetic of the voting, and the fact there is no election in 2025, it is virtually guaranteed that whoever wins the election in May will retain the council for 4 years if the current voting system is maintained. To overturn the majority within 4 years would require the party that loses in May to win every council seat in 2026 and virtually in 2027, which, guess what, would mean that they would not take control until 2028, when the proposed system would be electing again. It is simply bonkers to suggest that it would improve democracy. So let's turn to what the residents have said. We have had a consultation. I want to stress a consultation, not a vote, not a referendum, a consultation. And by virtue, that is not an argument to question how many people responded to that consultation. It is about the reasons behind their views. So yes, it is the case that 74% of those residents who responded said that they would like members this evening to vote for a 4-year election cycle. But it is not a referendum that can be delegitimised on the basis of turnout. I became leader of the council through a vote of less than 0.001% of Harlow residents. Indeed, Councillor Vince became leader of the opposition with just 12 votes, including his own, I presume. Does that delegitimise our positions? Of course not. What the consultation does do is add to the arguments being put forward by members voting for the proposed new systems. Taxpayers clearly believe that you will be spending their money more wisely. But what more starkly it shows me is that voters often do not even understand the current system and how it works. A number of those who responded suggest that they wish to stick to the current system because they can vote out their councillor each year if they don't like them or they think they're performing badly. That is untrue. Each councillor is elected for 4 years, unless, of course, members vote this evening to keep the current system, which would mean some elected for 2 years, some for 3, some for 4. The difference is simply that the public elects 11 councillors each year, not all in one go. And for the pleasure of that, they're asking Harlow taxpayers to pay an extra near £100,000 a year or to cut council services.
Could you wrap up, please, Councillor Swords?
So in conclusion, Chair, this proposal is being driven because it is the right thing to do for Harlow residents and for Harlow Council. It's come in line with over 70% of other councils to save taxpayers' money, to increase turnout, to make voting more meaningful, and to simplify our voting system. And the final thing I will say is that I've heard some members say they smell a rat or consider it to be politically driven. To that I would say the Conservatives are losing elections up and down the country and we're significantly behind in the polls. It is not driven by any political gain. It is driven by what is right for our town.
Councillor Swords, can I ask you to wrap up? Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Swords. I open this to debate now since the seconder has formally reserved their right to speak. Does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Vince.
Thank you, Chair. I'm assuming Councillor Swords isn't my man, but Labour Party second leaders. But when we first came across this topic, I said that we were in danger of doing the one thing that politicians should never do, and that's have a discussion about something that nobody outside this chamber actually cares about. And it seems I was right, because less than 1% of the electorate of Harlow District took part in this consultation. And I can tell you, from knocking on doors every week, come rain or shine, that I've spoken to far more than 1% of the electorate of Harlow, and not a single person has mentioned the electoral cycle to me. What they do care about is the service that Harlow Council provides. But if you think the amount of money it costs to have elections in any way compares to the £62.3 million worth of cuts this council has faced by the Conservative government, you are kidding yourself. We're told that the turnout in elections is low because we have too many elections. I think all politicians need to be a little bit more reflective than that. We know why people have lost their trust in politics. We hear it often enough, the phrase, we're all the same. And look, as somebody who didn't party during lockdown, as somebody who would have spent the money to repair our country's schools, and who supported the campaign to keep ticket offices open before it was popular, I get pretty frustrated when I hear that we're all the same. The way around the low turnout in elections is about being constantly answerable to the electorate, continuing to engage with the electorate and trying, although it's difficult with the cuts to services and staff that have happened over this administration, to tackle the issues that they have got that affect their lives so much. Running away from elections is not the answer to address the issues the electorate has got. Chair, I propose that actually We move on, we go to the vote now, and we actually get this done and actually get on to the main business of the meeting that actually could make a difference to this town. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Vince. I think what you are attempting to move is Standing Order 12.1H, which is that a question be now put.
Absolutely.
If you are, I'll seek a seconder for that motion. Thank you, Councillor Kane Morrison. That gets put to the vote. That gets put to the vote without discussion. So what we're doing is we're asking the chamber if you want to go straight to the vote on the question. So this is a vote on the vote that has been moved. So all those in favour that the question be now put without further discussion, say aye or raise your hands. And those against? I think without counting that motion has fallen. Thank you, Councillor Vince. If I could also just, before we move to any other speakers, draw your attention to 26(1)A of the Constitution, which does say that speeches are to be made through the chair. I appreciate full council is a public spectacle and it's all about addressing issues in front of the public, but I'd rather if councillors didn't stand facing the public the whole time during their speech, please. Thank you, Councillor Vince. Right, anyone else wish to debate the issue at hand? Councillor Carter, David Carter.
Thank you, Chair. I've not got a lot to say, but to change to a 4-year cycle, this would give the group that forms the administration 4 years to put their plans and see them through. At present, the administration can get elected in May and lose their majority in 1 year, and plans are scrapped and the new administration would start all over again. During the election process, each group has to fight the elections every year, taking up much time and expense. This would be better spent making Harlow better for all. It would be better for officers to have a 4-year cycle. It would give them stability and focus. The survey, which had 491 responses from the public, showed 74% in favour of 4-year terms. The administration would still come under scrutiny by updates, etc., demanded by an active scrutiny committee. The polls and the mood in the country says that a large Labour swing is very likely. So you may say that I am a turkey voting for Christmas, but I think a 4-year term is the best option for progress for the people of Harlow. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. Any other people wish to debate this issue? Oh, sorry, Councillor Edwards, I saw a glimpse of a hand there. Do you want to go for it? Okay, away you go.
Firstly, Councillor Saul spoke about 100,000. Sorry. Firstly, Councillor Saul spoke about 100,000 a year. But then we look in terms of the all-out options, in terms of the information that we're giving. And they're saying that over a 10-year period, the savings will amount to 399,000. Which means that it's £40,000 a year, not £100,000 a year. And in terms of £40,000 a year, given that we've got an electorate of approximately 64,000, that equates to approximately 60p per elector, per member of the electorate, per year, is what the actual cost. So we're talking about 60 pence a year per elector in terms of these costs. That's it. That's what that should be talked about. Secondly, the comment has been made about, oh, this will make effectively, this will make for more efficient councils. Can I just remind ourselves, in terms of the councils that do elect by thirds, and it is a substantial majority of councils. So, for example, Basildon Council elects by thirds, Cambridge Council elects by thirds, Exeter elects by thirds, Rugby elects by thirds, St Albans elects by thirds. Are we saying that all of those councils are somehow or other efficient and can't get on with the job? Or are we actually saying, no, those councils choose to use that particular method. And the reason they choose to use that particular method politicians like ourselves over the years, they actually value democratic accountability. And what they value is the opportunity for us all, for 1/3 of us, possibly be voted out every year, and to hold for the electorate to hold us to account. So when it comes down to crudely, when it comes down to a choice between a 60p charge per person per year, or holding on to the principle of democratic accountability, I know where my money goes, and it goes on democratic accountability. And I would hope that this council tonight votes to maintain that position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other speakers? In which case, Councillor Leppard, as the second who reserve their right, I'll go to you.
Thank you, Chair. My single observation upon looking at the responses was that, as Councillor Swords mentioned, many people were under the misconception that they can pick and choose which councillors they wish to eject at any time, which is of course wrong. And had that been clarified, it is my only criticism of the consultation, it's quite probable that the people voting to retain, or the numbers voting to retain the present system, would have been even fewer than it was, than the 26%. However, we do have the results of an otherwise well-explained and well-divulged consultation taking place over almost 2 months. I'm informed that the levels of the response are the highest ever recorded by Harlow Council for a consultation of a political nature, and it represents almost 4% of the total votes cast, not the electorate, the actual votes cast in 2023. It would be churlish, nay, extremely arrogant for any of us as elected councillors not to give credence to the clear and overwhelming outcome whereby 3/4 voted in favour of changing to a 4-year electoral cycle to bring us into line with a much larger list than that read out just now by Councillor Edwards. 69% English councils operate on the basis of 4 years. And I would stress, this is not a party issue, not at all. And before any members from either side of the chamber have the temerity to claim that this consultation is not conclusive or representative, I would remind all members that the 2 highest majority council votes in 2023 were Church Langley for the Conservatives and Little Palmer and Hare Street for Labour. In both cases, neither of them achieved 16% of the eligible vote, not even 16%. So when we talk, that signifies that the rest of us obtained between 11 and 14%. That's hardly a resounding endorsement or a conclusive mandate. Maybe we should all resign here and now, because we don't have a sufficient majority. Low levels of turnout are a direct reflection of voter alienation. It reflects poorly on this chamber. Indeed, this is not a party issue. It is about administrative efficiency and economy, and falling into line with the best practice of the majority of councils in England. I'd like to mention that at a recent LGA conference I attended, in Warwick, I was speaking to a cross-party selection of councils from 6 or 7 councils, several of which were Labour. They were completely bemused that we would even consider retaining the current system, given the financial pressures all councils are under. And furthermore, and this is directed to Councillor Edwards, speaking to one of our Newtown peer councils, Welling and Hatfield, which this year went from Conservative control to a Labour and Lib Dem coalition, I was given to understand that they're going through exactly this process at the moment, and will be carrying out a 4-year electoral vote with full party consensus. We cannot continue to waste 2 to 3 months each year and significant expense for the sake of political vanity and posturing. Our electors deserve better. Councillor Durkin has often written in your Harlow
Thank you.
that the comeback conduct and lack of engagement with residents has caused disillusionment and alienation, resulting in low turnouts. I cannot disagree with you. Tonight we have a chance to start to address this malaise, or forever hold public consultations in complete contempt, which is what is being proposed by the opposition. We have the opportunity this evening to do right by our residents and to heed their advice. Let us do so.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. We go to 15.9, the right to reply is the move of the motion. Councillor Salt, you have the right to sum up the debate.
Thank you, Chair, and I'll simply make a few points that, as Councillor Lettard just picked up, Councillor Edwards read out a list of 8 councils in the country that hold elections by third, but it is also the case, of course, that 69% of councils in England hold elections in 4-year cycles. In fact, it's a common theme now in the local government association's corporate peer challenge reviews of councils, where in a few cases they find them, they hold elections by thirds to move to a 4-year cycle. But as we have heard, there is even a misunderstanding of our electoral system by councillors within this chamber. And as I said, the proposal is solely for the benefit of Harlow residents and the organisation. As Councillor Carter said, it is no secret that the party we represent is facing some electoral challenges, shall we say. And yet we are proposing to move to a 4-year cycle. So under, I'd like to propose, Chair, under Standing Order 15.8 to withdraw the motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Salt. 15.8 reads, a councillor may withdraw a motion that they have proposed with the consent of both the meeting and the seconder. The meeting of consent will be signified without discussion. No councillor may speak on the motion after the meeting has asked permission to withdraw it unless permission is refused. So, firstly, I'll go to Councillor Leppard. Are you happy to consent to the withdrawal of the motion?
Yes, I consent.
Okay, and then I'll go to a pure vote in the chamber without discussion. Are you, as a chamber of councillors, happy to allow the mover to withdraw their motion? Those in favour of that, please raise your hands. And those against withdrawing the motion? Okay, hang on. Make sure we've got those recorded. And then 11, and then abstentions. Okay, that doesn't add up with my maths, but okay. All right, in which case the motion has been withdrawn. The motion has been withdrawn. Gentlemen, excuse me. No, and you're both having a debate across the chamber whilst I'm trying to speak to the meeting and enforce the rules of the chamber, so please, all sides stop. The motion has been withdrawn. That means we revert to the agenda of matters of urgent business. I've not been notified of any for this special meeting. Are there any? No. In which case we end this meeting. The full council meeting, as notice has been given, will not start until 8 o'clock. There are 6 minutes for members to take a comfort break and for any members of the audience that don't wish to stay for the next part of the council meeting to leave. Thank you very much.